The Curmudgeon Chronicles. In the quiet neighborhood of Sweden, lives an irritable, solitary widower named Ove. Ove follows a strict routine and has an extremely rigid sense of right and wrong that often puts him at odds with his neighbors. His life is heavily ruled by principles, order, and efficiency, from his strict schedule to his belief in the sanctity of rules. He revels in routine and believes life should be lived in a particular orderly fashion. Even though he may seem grumpy, Ove is a man of depth, with a well of memories, lessons, and experiences beneath his curmudgeonly exterior. For several years, Ove served as the self-appointed caretaker and enforcer of rules in his housing community. He is famed for his grumpiness, but this is just the surface of a man with a heart of gold. Ove's endless attempts to instill proper behavior in his neighbors serve to keep his days busy and his life meaningful. However, recent changes in the housing community have dethroned him from this position. A newly appointed board of directors, led by Ove's years-long rival Rune, has taken over. And even though Ove is seemingly undeterred by these changes on the surface, he's deeply troubled by them. Latterly, Ove's precious sanctuary of order is disturbed when a lively young couple with 2 children moves into the house across the street. Patrick and Parvana are far from being the ideal neighbors in Ove's perspective. Their chaotic lifestyle breaches every single rule Ove firmly believes in. Ove's life takes a dramatic turn when he decides to take his own life to join his beloved wife Sonia in the afterlife. Life, however, has different plans. Each of his attempts gets hilariously disrupted by his new neighbors. Unwittingly, they breathe a sense of purpose back into his life, kickstarting a series of heartwarming and life-altering events. A tug-of-war between Ove's firm belief in his established principles and the ever-changing world pushes him to explore undiscovered territories of the heart. He realizes that his solitary existence needs an infusion of life, and perhaps, he still has a lot to give to the world even if it defies his laws. The roller coaster ride has just begun for the old man, setting the tone for a transforming journey. Unveiling the past. To understand the man Ove is today, one must delve into the journey that shaped him. Ove's past is a poignant tale of love and loss, painting a softer picture of the grumpy old man. Born to a hard-working and principled father, Ove learned the virtues of punctuality, diligence, and respect for rules at a young age. From his father, he also inherited skills such as fixing things and constructing buildings. Tragically, Ove's father dies when he's still a teenager, leaving him alone in this world. Bereft yet resilient, Ove follows in his father's footsteps, holding on to those imbibed values and the mantra of work before pleasure. After the loss of his father, Ove faces the hardships of life alone. He endures poverty, living in a toolshed owned by the railroad company where he works. Yet he doesn't lose his grit and determination, setting the course for his later life. Life takes a turn when he meets Sonia, a bright, vivacious woman who first becomes his friend and later his beloved wife. Sonia is the beacon of light and warmth in Ove's otherwise gray world. Her liveliness and understanding knock on the doors of Ove's heart, making him more human and less machine-like. For the first time in his life, Ove experiences love that transcends his understanding of the world and its rules. Their love flourishes, embodying a potent mix of companionship, understanding, and shared dreams. They plan to build a home and raise a family. But an accident leaves Sonia paraplegic, shattering their common dream. Despite the devastating circumstances, Ove doesn't waver. He stands strong, mirroring the determination and resilience he demonstrates throughout his life, which only further imprints his character into the readers' hearts. These shared experiences and years together with Sonia shape Ove into who he is. He isn't just a grumpy old man, but a man who has loved and lost, endured, and survived. Unveiling the past brings forth a multidimensional image of the protagonist, illustrating that beneath his hard shell, Ove possesses an ocean of emotions. His past lays the foundation for the evolving journey that is yet to come. The Unwanted Rescuer. In their colorful neighborhood, Ove's world continues to clash with the chaos brought by the newly moved couple, Patrick and Parvana. Much to his dismay, these confrontations open unexpected doors for him to unwillingly step into the shoes of a reluctant rescuer. A stray cat enters the scene, further disrupting Ove's orderly world. Reflecting his utter disdain for creatures that don't seem to adhere to his notion of rules and discipline, Ove regards the cat with scorn. Yet, a strange twist of fate has him sheltering the cat during a cold night, a subtle hint at the softness Ove hides underneath his seemingly hardened exterior. Simultaneously, Ove's encounters with his new neighbors escalate. When Patrick, inexperienced as a driver, tries to back his trailer, he inevitably gets it stuck. Ove, always a stickler for rules and proper conduct, simply cannot let such incompetence pass. Despite his initial annoyance, he finds himself instructing Patrick to set things right. Meanwhile, the pregnant Parvana, full of zest and determination, provokes Ove's dormant qualities, hinting at their growing camaraderie. When she collapses due to an unexpected adversity, Ove seizes the chance to play the role of a rescuer. His driving skills, comprising his affection for Saab cars, come into play as he rushes her to the hospital. A bond begins to form, resistant as Ove may be to admit it. This part of his journey throws light into the compassionate side of Ove buried deep beneath his stern exterior. His natural inclination to rescue, fix, and protect unwittingly finds him helping others. From being the residential Grinch, Ove unintentionally starts evolving into an unexpected, albeit grumpy, guardian angel for his neighbors, setting more changes into motion. Through the lens of friendship, Ove's rigid life continues to be upended by instances that push him out of his comfort zone. Even as he struggles with the changes, he starts to form unexpected connections, slowly shedding his skin of unapproachability. His solitary life begins to intertwine with his community through bonds forged in the most unexpected circumstances. Ove's grudging friendship with the stray cat adds a surprising dimension to his life. Despite his initial resistance, he finds a strange companionship in the feline who, much like him, is independent and unyielding. This cat becomes a symbol of acceptance, a companionship that fills the growing emptiness in his life. In tandem, Ove's encounter with the unskilled driver, Patrick, unfolds into an unexpected mentorship. Ove takes it upon himself to teach Patrick how to drive, transforming a one-time annoyance to a relationship where Ove can pass along his knowledge and uphold his revered principles. Parvana, the spunky neighbor, persistently knocks on Ove's shell. She inserts herself into Ove's life in her characteristic bold fashion, challenging and startling the old man from his grim solitude. Her children, too, instinctively take to Ove, their innocent affection melting his icy exterior. A storyline that stands out high amidst these blossoming friendships is Ove's continued battle with the ruling housing committee. Ove refuses to bend to their regulations which, in his opinion, are mere symptoms of a new age, rule-breaking society. He fights, argues, and defends his principles, often landing him in trouble but also quietly earning him respect. These growing connections reflect an important transformation unfolding in Ove's life. Slowly but surely, bonds of friendship are replacing the walls of solitude he built around him. Unbeknownst to him, they are shaping him into a different man, slowly healing his heart aching with loneliness, injecting a newfound sense of belonging in the neighborhood he once ruled. New bonds, old wounds. As Ove's life becomes more entwined with his neighbors, the grumpy old man's hardened facade begins to crumble, revealing unaddressed pain and sorrow. One evening, Ove starts sharing the compelling tale of his life with Parvana, an act completely alien to his reserved nature. His story offers a glimpse into the depth of his emotions, the vastness of his heart, and the depth of his loss of Sonia, a heartfelt narrative that poignantly impacts Parvana. The bond between Ove and Parvana strengthens, and the usual boundaries Ove has set start melting away. Parvana, patient and understanding, navigates the turbulent waters of Ove's harsh exterior to reach his softer side. Through their interactions, she becomes somewhat of a confidant to Ove, forging a bond much deeper than they both initially expected. Meanwhile, Ove finds solace in his growing comradeship with the stray cat. The cat brings a form of companionship Ove didn't realize he needed, adding a layer of warmth to his life. The community's erstwhile grumpy man continues to confound his neighbors with his unexpected benevolence. From rescuing a neighbor from a house fire to standing up for the oppressed, Ove emerges as the unlikely hero, gaining admiration from the most unlikely corners. However, the world outside isn't as warm. Ove battles to help his old friend and rival, Rune, who is suffering from Alzheimer's and being forcefully sent to a nursing home against his wife's wishes. This event awakens his sense of justice, corroded by society's insensitivity. In this challenging yet transformative part of his life, Ove reconciles with his past and redefines his future. He sheds his bitterness, embraces empathy, and finds purpose outside of his own strict rules. Despite the lingering pain of loss, Ove begins to accept new connections, binding the threads of friendship, compassion, and unspoken love tighter around him. The awakening of empathy. It's not his stern exterior that makes Ove a fierce character, but the remarkable journey of character development that follows as he slowly opens up to the world around him. Throughout his life, Ove's actions are always firmly planted in his strong sense of right and wrong. This righteousness drives him to fight fiercely for his friend, Rune. After a bitter struggle, Ove's perseverance pays off, and he successfully thwarts the official attempt to move Rune into a nursing home. Minor characters, like Mir Sad, a youth in trouble with his homophobic father, find shelter in Ove's unintended but increasing sense of community. Ove fights the boy's father, establishing himself as a protector of the weak. His actions evoke a sense of admiration and gratitude, further rooting his position within the hearts of his neighbors. In the meantime, Ove's unlikely friendship with Parvana deepens. She shows up in his life, always unbidden and always welcome, much to Ove's bemusement. With her, Ove shares his softer side, weaving his life stories, his love for Sonia, and his heartbreak with an openness that surprises even him. In the backdrop of these happenings, a heart-rending revelation rolls out, answering the lingering question, why does Ove attempt suicide? The loss of his beloved Sonia to cancer sends Ove spiraling down into grief. He yearns to meet her, pushing him towards taking his own life. But life takes an unscripted detour. Despite his struggle with loss and grief, Ove's world grows warmer with the presence of his neighbors who, like him, are touched with the wand of harsh life experiences. He becomes an unintentional nurturer and an indispensable part of their lives. The man who once shunned company turns into a lighthouse of empathy, love, and support for those around him. This transition paints a beautiful portrait of life's surprises that even Ove could never have planned for. Stepping towards acceptance. The world has begun to spin differently for Ove as he unexpectedly becomes the pillar for his community, standing up for the ones in need and caring for those around him. What started as a tale about an irritable old man grudgingly moves towards a narrative of an unforgettable hero. Ove's life has become enmeshed with that of his neighbors, and he finds a part of himself surprising him. He has begun to care. He's there for the youthful Mirsad, providing a safe harbor when the teenager is thrown out of his house by his homophobic father. The once solitary man embraces his role in Mirsad's life and fights back against the father, providing the young man a sanctuary. Meanwhile, the bond between Ove and the stray cat only deepens. Together they withstand the challenges life throws at them, sharing the warmth of friendship and companionship in silence. The cat has unknowingly taught Ove to open his life and heart to the possibilities of curiosity, friendship, and seemingly unconventional companions. The once grumpy Ove continues to experience emotional growth. His relationship with Parvana and her family helps him understand the value of community, love, and shared experiences. They spark a sense of familial bond in him, providing him the platform to feel needed and cherished. His persistent fight to keep Rune in the community rather than moving him to a nursing home echoes a powerful message of loyalty and persistence. Fueled by his urge to right the wrongs, Ove's determination to stand for justice adds to his respect and reputation in the society. Despite the leaps and bounds that Ove has journeyed emotionally, the pain of losing Sonia continues to be his constant companion. There's an undercurrent of sadness and longing that's ever present, a longing for a world that has long passed. Regardless of the emotional turmoil, Ove finds a newfound strength in acceptance, providing a solid foundation for his evolution as a human. The man once called grumpy has become the man called a hero, stepping into this newfound reality with remarkable grace. The final goodbye. A new beginning. The tale reaches its climax as Ove's world spirals, knocking him off his well-trodden path. An unexpected accident leaves Ove severely injured, stuck between life and death. This crucial turning point stirs the neighborhood and pulls them even closer, amalgamating the community in anxiety while waiting for his recovery. Parvana, upholding her newfound role in Ove's life, refuses to leave his side. She ensures his home isn't all alone and looks after the newfound companion, the cat. She becomes the tether that bridges Ove to his life, providing a sense of dual support, literal and emotional. In the pale white hospital room, against the dripping numbers of heartbeats and rhythmic snores, Ove clings to life. Confined to the cold, sterile hospital bed, Ove battles death, offering him a chance to reflect on his life, the love he had, and the new bonds he has formed. He gazes into the yawning abyss of his life without Sonia, contrasted blatantly against the burgeoning relationships he has recently formed. For the first time, he faces his loneliness and allows himself to understand the weight of his loss. He grapples with his longing for Sonia and his newfound ties to the world. By the time Ove recovers, he is a changed man. He returns to his neighborhood not as the grumpy old man, but a recovered hero. His transformation from a man who once lived by stubborn principles to accepting change and embracing love becomes apparent. The resilient man, Ove, continues to live his life, finding a renewed sense of purpose. He nurtures his relationships with his neighbors, takes care of the stray cat, regularly visits Rune, all while holding Sonia's memory close to his heart. In the final moments, Ove redefines living and the power of acceptance. His journey from despair to acceptance, from solitude to friendship, and from loss to learning presents a beacon of hope for all. The narrative ends with the hint of a sunrise, a subtle nod to beginnings, making A Man Called Ove a heartwarming tale of resilience and transformation, weaving together the strings of loss, love, friendship, and life itself.